Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. I'm not in focus. For some reason, let me try to force quit Safari because, or is it Chrome? It's like covering up my screen. My computer is doing something weird. Hopefully everything's coming through on your end because I see there's watchers. So if somebody could put in chat that everything, hey, thank you, Smoking Llama, because I'm looking at, you guys don't know what kind of program I have, but normally I can see myself on a huge monitor, but Chrome is taking up my whole screen and will not close. And I'm only viewing it like on this tiny little screen, and I don't want to like stop this just, so let me try hitting force quit on Chrome. Here we go, fixed it, force quit on Chrome. Chrome was like frozen, it was really weird. Man, right as I start the stream, I see something, and I'm like way too, well, let me show you my shirt, because y'all like my shirts. It says, I have no clue why I'm even out of bed, or why I'm out of bed. And that is true. But I'm going to like sit on both. This isn't going to be a long stream. I'm going to try to sit up higher, because I couldn't focus my camera because of all my computer problems. And I'm a half hour late, which is perfect for the subject of this show. But by the way, so why I had Chrome up, I'm going to do a separate show on this. Boy, Whitney is trying to influence the Credentials Committee, isn't she? So, she's urging everyone to vote early on the ballot for someone who I guess she believes, I don't know this person, no shade on this person, someone she thinks is going to be the swing vote to overturn the Massachusetts decision, and she wants them confirmed before tomorrow's night meeting. This is so inappropriate interference by the LNC. Nothing surprises me, though. Nothing surprises me. And I hope LNC members can see through this and take their sweet time voting, as is their right. She says, well, if you don't vote early, the Credentials Committee can't do its work. Susan already told the LNC that this nominee is already volunteering with the Credentials Committee, so he's already working. The only difference is he'll get a vote after he's confirmed. Whitney, this is so transparent. Come on. Come on, really? Really, we're going to play these games? You win some, you lose some. Tomorrow I'll be talking about a JC decision I don't like. But I'm not going to, overstep my bounds to try to get my way. I disagree. I can disagree agreeably. And that's where we leave it. And we leave it up to the convention. I mean, that's the process we have in place. But my God, some people need to learn how to lose. It's not great. Believe me, I know it. And we didn't actually lose the JC decision. They just refused to hear it. Big difference. But, which I'm going to get into tomorrow. But I'm still not happy about it. But, that's the system we have. Wowzer. It's just okay, well, what do we do next? And you work within the rules. You don't cheat. And that's what you do. I firmly believe the good guys will win. It just may take a while. And the good guys in Massachusetts, it's very clear. This isn't even questionable. And I told them, as long as, they're the good guys. They're on the side of the angels, without a doubt. But anyway, there's my Venmo at the bottom of the screen. We're going to get going. This is not going to be a long stream. We'll get into why I'm a half hour late. You can thank James for reminding me, because I was talking with him. He's like, don't you have a stream? I'm like, oh, crap. I do. I have a stream. But we'll get into that. First, where I am at with campaign funds. All the mailers went out. Postage paid. And you should get one any day now. I would love to, and thank you, Ty, for coming over to YouTube. It really helps my algorithm. And the comments help boost my algorithm. Being on YouTube just helps me. So if people are watching elsewhere, listen, I'm not going to tell you not to watch on Facebook or Twitch or whatever, if that's what you're more comfortable with and you have your own reasons. But if it really doesn't matter to you one way or another, it really helps me. And hit like and hit subscribe. I'm a real YouTuber now. I'm asking you to hit like and subscribe. I always forget that. And I forgot where I was at. Oh, so mailers, you should get one any day. I would like to know when the mailers, hey Chuck, I'd like to know when the mailers start arriving. So if you could let me know by email or on a stream, whether you got the mailer or not, just trying to keep track. Because sometimes, I know some people won't get it till after convention because the post office sucks. Some people got my mailer last time months later. You just never know. You just never know. But I'd like to know. But so I'm at a goose egg. I've spent every cent. So there are some copying. There's some duplication costs for things for the table and for distribution to the delegates that I would still like to do. If I don't get to, no tragedy. But there's some really good stuff, such as I don't know whether any secretary has ever done this before. People who've been around, or secretary candidate, people who have been around in the party before can let me know. But I did a strategic action plan, just like the chair candidates tend to do. I've never seen anyone but the chair do that, and sometimes regionals. But I did one for secretary. I posted it on Twitter. I posted it on Facebook, and it's linked on my mailer. But I would like to have copies of that available. I'm not going to distribute it to every single delegate because they can look it up online. But I would like to have a stack of them on my table. And it is full color. And, I'd like to have it nice and with that little binder thing on it. So, and there's some things that I would like to distribute a copy to each delegate. Not anything that extensive, just like a regular flyer. So if you think that kind of thing is important and educational, if you would donate to my campaign to get me to this last push for duplication costs, truly appreciate it. If you can't, or, whatever, you know what I'm saying. Everything major is done. That is all I have left to do. And of course, I've got receipts for everything because I do believe in spending accountability. I haven't been going out to the strip bars with your money. In fact, you should have seen some of the Airbnbs I stayed in order to save money. I don't want to talk about it. So why am I half hour late? Well, I'm a half hour late due to the subject of the show, which is a continuation from last time where we were talking about passion. Passion for something. Not in the oh, not that one. That's not the applause one. I suppose it could be applause. Not in this sense.
Boom, chicka, wow, wow.
Not that kind of passion.
Objection, speculative.
Be quiet, fishy man. But the passion you have for causes and things like that. And we got into last time about, the original roots of the word. And, it's not just the love for something. It's actually the type of love for something that causes you real suffering too. And in fact, it's not, passion isn't possible without suffering. And that's kind of how, maybe it's just a way of making myself feel better that I've kind of viewed the past 6 months. But I got some great comments after that show that I wanted to add to the discussion. So this won't be long. But why I'm a half hour late is I got wrapped up just in a bunch of things I need to take care of before convention. And I got so wrapped up in it that I forgot I had a stream scheduled. Like, it was just that important. And I truly got really wrapped up in it. And we'll get into some of the things I've been doing. I've got some special streams scheduled. We're going to get into, and Chuck, you're not going to like this because this has happened in the past. And this is something that needs to be addressed. I don't really know how it can be addressed in the distant past. The LNC has abused they've abused a lot of things, power abuses. And we're going to end up talking about this LNC. But what I'm talking about now is not this LNC. It's past LNCs. They've abused executive session, which is why there became rules in the bylaws about executive session. Not happy at all about that proposed amendment, which would have executive session for any reason. That needs to die in a fire screaming for its mother. And YouTube censors, that was an idiom for an inanimate thing, not a literal thing that can literally die or literally scream. I always have to say that because context seems to be lost today. That whole proposal is great, except for that part. And that's what I mean by a poison pill. Obviously, it doesn't. I'm going to do a whole show on poison pills because a certain LNC member who's on the bylaws committee lost his ever-loving mind because I used that term and insisted that it meant bad faith. No, it doesn't. It can, but it doesn't mean that automatically. I am not shy about saying when I think someone is acting in bad faith. I don't need words like poison pill to smuggle that meaning in. I'm pretty forthright about my opinions. A poison pill doesn't mean there has to be bad faith on the person making the proposal. It means that the person who's looking at the proposal supported it, but for one thing, that is a poison pill to them. It doesn't mean it was intended that way by the writers. It could be, but it doesn't have to mean that. My God. I didn't think I was going to have to be explaining basic English idioms to people. I knew, Chuck, that because you were pushing for the rules for executive session. So, yeah, I'm taking a look at that proposal because I would hate to see the whole thing shot down in full. To see some potential whatchamacallit, amendments, some potential amendments, because I think there's some really good things in that proposal, and I don't think anyone on the committee purposely put that in so that it wouldn't pass. That makes no sense. So I'm going to be looking at that one tomorrow and maybe thinking of some potential amendments, but there's no way it's going to pass as written. People are not going to vote to allow the LNC to go into executive session for any reason, as long as they have a 3/4 vote. I see you. I see what you're saying. Oh, not everyone could see Chuck. Oh, well, you could see it up on the screen. Yeah, I'm going to look at some potential amendments for that one. I really wish you guys had just divided out that one section, but that's okay. I don't even know how I got off on this poison pill thing, but I think everyone can agree that I don't need I'm not shy. If I think something's in bad faith, I just say it. I don't hide behind words. I'm pretty blunt. So when I want it, I don't read things into terms like poison pill, because I'll explain, It's just crazy what some people have been doing. It's absolutely crazy. And it's funny that in assuming the word poison pill means bad faith, the person making that assumption is assuming bad faith on me. Ooh, projection? Do we have a case here of projection, girls? Wait, hold on. Where's my my new sound clip?
It's a scandal, girls.
It's a scandal, girls.
It's a scandal, girls.
Okay, so let's move on to the topic of tonight. What is this clip? Hold on. I might play a highly inappropriate clip because I don't know what it is. I don't have it labeled well.
You salty bitch. Explain yourself.
Perfect. Yes, I am a little salty. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Now on to passion, the topic of the show. What the comments I got that were so thought-provoking that I wanted to address. And that was, I want to word it because I got multiple comments on this, is people had noticed, and I've mentioned this in the past, but I didn't mention it in that last show. And that's a fault of mine. And I so appreciated the comments because it is so easy to get very self-focused. And I'll admit, this past few weeks, again, with how retrospective and introspective I've been, introspective can really, really lead to myopic navel gazing, which is not good. So some of the comments I got afterwards really pulled me back a little, which I was so grateful for. And the one I wanted to highlight was, again, I don't have permission to share names, so I'm being not giving names on purpose. If that person wants me to say a name later, they could always let me know, or if they're listening, they can put into chat. But a comment that I got was, in that stream, I talked a lot about fears, expectations, just what I'm going through in this final countdown to the convention, and what my the rerunning meant to me, the whole vindication aspect. And what was written to me was true. Your rerunning, definitely that vote means a great deal to you as vindication. But remember, it isn't the way they worded it, but this is the way I internalized it. It's not all about you. You were not the only person wronged by what the LNC did. The delegates were wronged that voted for you as you were, and you haven't changed. The people that donated thousands and thousands of dollars to your campaign were defrauded by the LNC. So remember, yes, it's vindication for you, but it's not just for you. There are people out there who strongly supported you then, still strongly support you now, had every reason to believe, or believes not to, had every reason to trust that their votes would not just be shat on by the LNC because their feelings were hurt. And those people want vindication too. That whole incident was not only painful to you, it was deeply, deeply disturbing to a lot of members. And people lost faith in the party over that. So remember that it's not just a fight for you. It's for those who have been behind you. And that got me. Because I've said that before, but not in that stream. That's one reason why I got so angry at Chris Lucchini. You don't have a property right. Really, people who invested time and labor following the rules of an organization and then voted in a process that they had every right to expect to be respected, they don't have a property right? I'm not going to say what I want to because I want this stream to stay monetized. What a tone-deaf, arrogant, entitled piece of crap thing to say. And it's funny, that gentleman is learning consequences himself, isn't he? By 5 states that broke away and don't want a thing to do with him because he was a terrible representative. Consequences may seem far away when it's 9 months. But the chickens always come home to roost. And they're coming home to roost. The consequences, the LNC had its merry 2 years. And they didn't really go bad that whole time. So since June, they thought May was a long time away. It's here now. It's here now. The chickens are coming home to roost. And some of you won't pay the consequences this time, but most of you will. And that is regardless of whether or not I'm vindicated. Most of you are gone and will likely never be trusted in a position of power again. Some of you won't. Some of you are running for re-election will get it. But karma always gets her way in the end. So, look back, was it worth it? I didn't know that was you. Oh yeah, you remind me of my mom. Oh my God. Yeah. Ooh. So yeah. Consequences always seem far away, don't they? And the consequences just aren't to you. Look around at the shambles the party is in. Do you think that makes me happy? No. And that goes back to way predating this LNC. That goes back, I lay that right at the feet of Nick Sarwark. And I did that in a show where I said I could put a point in time where there was a point of no return to the events of today. Everything else just added to it. It could have been lessened by the actions of this LNC or other people, but Nick sent the party down this road. Firmly believe it. But I just wanted to add that when I got those messages, I was like, damn, you know, you're right. I left out that other people, now I might have been most affected, most hurt, because it was deeply, deeply personal, but I wasn't the only one. You know, you don't get to positions alone. I'm not trying to do a Hillary Clinton, it takes a village thing, but it does take a group of people and supporters. And they don't go away once you accomplish the goal. They're still there. You're still working for them. And to have that just summarily taken away, that hurts them too. So I wanted to add that because that pulled me out of myself a bit. And you need to do that because it can be very easy to just get self-absorbed a bit is, I guess, the way to put it. It's not a very flattering way to put it, but it's a truthful way to put it. So I wanted to take care of that omission because I think that was a really, really good observation, and it really helped me. It really helped me. Because there's been plenty of things that I almost didn't do because I didn't want to put myself through it. I almost didn't appeal the decision because I didn't want to put myself through it. And that was like reliving all that shit all over again. But even if there was I still believe my appeal was right. And if I had won it, it would have secured, it would have safeguarded future people that a future LNC might try doing this to. That is why I filed it. Because honestly, it didn't break my heart not to be around those people. That would have been very awkward. Now, I would have done my job and I would have done my duty. But, you know, who wants to be around backstabbers? I did it for the cause of future people. And it's also for the cause of future people, though I do want to. I wouldn't put myself or my supporters through rerunning if I didn't want the position. But there's lots of reasons for wanting it. And part of it is for vindication for future people. To show that the LNC can do this and the delegates can say, yeah, no. But it isn't like I don't want to do the job again. I obviously do. I've been continuing to do it to the best of my ability this whole time. Oh, Chuck, I forgot. We'll go back to this. So that's the end of the update to this, but I'm going to be doing a separate show on this too, but since you're here. So past LNCs have abused executive session. Past LNCs have abused the executive committee. This LNC has been running by executive committee ever since they canceled their March meeting. There's an executive committee meeting tomorrow. The subject of this executive committee meeting, which is in executive session, though I think the executive session is warranted, is potential litigation. Not approval of getting involved in litigation, which must be approved by the executive committee. It's just potential litigation. And it's not an emergency. And the notice for the executive committee was, I think, 7 days ahead of time. Way more than enough time to call a full LNC meeting. Why is it just the executive committee that's meeting to discuss potential litigation? That's not within the purview of just the executive committee. And potential litigation, the whole LNC is supposed to be briefed on it ahead of time. And perhaps they have been, and I just don't know. But I have a lot of very good reasons, and read between the lines all you want, to believe that they haven't been briefed on any potential litigation. So this LNC's just thrown the rules out the window. And they're handling things by the executive committee that should be handled by the full LNC. Why? Why? Why is this at the executive committee? Why didn't they call a full LNC meeting? Do I think there's necessarily anything shady going on? No. But if you don't want me to be suspicious, stop acting suspiciously. It's not like it's unreasonable for me to question this. Why? And sorry, just potential litigation is not descriptive enough. When you are giving a description for executive session, you need to give a description that gives the members enough information, or as much information as you can, without breaching the very reason you need executive session. So potential litigation isn't enough. And there's some circumstances where it would be enough. But usually it will be like potential litigation regarding ballot access. No, they're not contradictory. The executive committee is not being looped in. The whole LNC should be looped in. This is a whole LNC thing. And I think you are misunderstanding what I was concerned about officers not being kept in the loop on. But we can deal with that with another show. If this required a meeting, because I was talking about things that didn't require meetings, Chuck, by the way. If this required a meeting, it's the full LNC. And why hasn't it been? Don't know. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Well, besides not following, protocol. Doesn't mean there's anything underhanded. Let's put it that way. I'm just curious why the LNC is being left out of the loop, and it's just the executive committee. If I were on the LNC, I'd be pissed off. And the description of potential litigation, again, maybe that's all they could say. But generally, as I said, it will say potential litigation regarding ballot access, potential litigation regarding ballot access is almost all of our litigation. So that would be fine. That'd be enough. But just saying potential litigation leaves people to speculate. So don't be pissed off when they speculate. So we'll find out. And most LNC members didn't know that they could attend the executive session of the executive committee. They don't. This is what's so crazy about why they're doing it this way. I guess we'll find out maybe one day what it was about. Well, Chuck, I'm comparing it with the fact that they had more than enough time to call an L&C meeting. The executive committee is intended for certain things to which they're given jurisdiction, like getting involved in a lawsuit, like signing on, requires a certain vote of the executive committee. And the executive committee also, for decisions that need to be made in a more rapid pace, so there's not time to call a full L&C meeting, because the executive committee's got a smaller notice window. But this meeting was called 7 days ahead of time. That's not an executive committee time frame. The subject matter is not something that's within the purview of the executive committee. So, nope, this should have been the full L&C. Full L&C is, Chuck, that's a good question. That is a good question. It's my position that the entire L&C has a right to be in that executive session. So, like, what's the point? Like, why didn't they just call an L&C meeting? Maybe they were concerned about quorum to have a meeting, but I don't think any votes are taking place. So it's just bizarre to me. And again, I don't even personally believe it's anything underhanded. Honestly. I think they're probably talking about ballot access litigation. But why are they doing it the wrong way? And this couldn't wait. You're talking now 6 days away from convention. And it's only potential litigation. It's not anything, from what I understand, that they can make a decision on now. So why the rush? It's just weird. Now, if it's to approve getting involved in litigation, then the secretary issued a defective notice, which, okay, it took him 4 tries to get the date right, so it wouldn't surprise me if he issued a defective notice, but we just don't know right now. Just don't know. It's just bad form. It's bad practice. And I don't know if we'll ever know the answers, but we have every right to question. Members aren't wrong when they question things, and I'm tired of us being made to feel like we're wrong. Okay, that's it for tonight. Half hour late. Don't like my framing. My head's like way too low. It's barely above that bar there, but, you know, having some computer issues. Tomorrow we will be discussing the JC's declining to hear this case, which Chuck is already well aware, I think is a terrible decision. I don't think it was made in bad faith. I said so to the JC, that reasonable people can disagree, but I think it's a horrible, horrible decision. And I would love to see the vote count on it. I was surprised the vote count wasn't released with the decision. So if you're still listening, Chuck, I would like to know the roll call vote on that. Curious. Just curious. As I said, I don't assign any kind of bad faith to anybody. But I think is terrible precedent. And, yeah, terrible precedent. But it's a non-decision. It's not negative at all to the facts of the case. That will then need to be decided by the convention, the L&C, or the next JC, or all three. What we're going to spend the majority of the time on, because I do want to talk about how it's not a reflection on the facts of the case, because people are running around saying it is. It is not. It is not. I think it's incoherent, and I think it's a bad decision, but it's not a reflection on the facts of the case. But I thought the last decision was a bad decision and incoherent as well. without imputing bad faith on anybody. See, it's possible for me to disagree without thinking people are in bad faith. I know I just keep saying that sarcastically because of some lies that not you guys, but other people have said. Yeah, just because I'm super suspicious of the LNC doesn't mean I'm super suspicious of everybody. And the LNC has given members plenty of reason to be very, very sus of them. But what I want to spend most of my time on tomorrow is the appalling response of the fake llama. And there is bad faith there. It's bad. It's a very bad response. And since we can't file an official reply, I figured I'd go through it informally and give a reply, because I'm sure these talking points will be coming up over the next week. Some of the things in the reply had absolutely nothing to do with the appeal. Nothing. Like, they didn't sign the regional agreement right. Okay, that's wrong, by the way. They did do it in a meeting. I don't know why they would assert something that's provably false, but it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the appeal. Thank you, Watchman State. I do appreciate the super chat. Yeah, I don't know. And like all the crap about whether or not they're reporting to the state of Massachusetts for donations, another false statement, by the way, but irrelevant to the appeal. Completely irrelevant. Like, I haven't sat down and counted, but I think at least 1/3 of the text in their response is completely irrelevant. The rest completely misses the point or says the equivalent of, I just broke your legs, and now I'm going to blame you for not being able to walk and count that against you, even though I was the one who broke your legs. Sounds like the state to me. So most of our time will be spent on that. I'm not even addressing the LNC's response because it's it's completely irrelevant. People can read it. They can read the appeal. It thinks it's countering the arguments in the appeal. The appeal already... the appeal already anticipated the counter arguments and offered a rebuttal. So there's really nothing new to rebut. It's just like, nah. So, you can read those two and decide who you agree with on that. Plus, this LNC's response is irrelevant. Because this LNC, I'm not saying everyone on it, this LNC is gone. It's gone, not this weekend, but the next. So their response is irrelevant. It's not going to mean anything. If this appeal has to be filed again, then the response of a future LNC will matter. And I'm not saying the response of this LNC is irrelevant because I don't like them. It's just irrelevant. Factually, it's irrelevant. It's not going to be heard this term. It's going to be an entirely different LNC. So there's no point in even addressing it. But the bad actors in the fake llama will still be there. So their response is still relevant. And those talking points will be used. So I want to counter them, since we can't do so officially. So that will be tomorrow, but to make it clear, because people love to take me out of context, I disagree with the JC. I think it was a terrible decision, but I don't think it was in bad faith by any stretch of the imagination. I just disagree with them heavily. On the other hand, the fake llama, they just continue to engage in bad faith. I disagree with them, and I don't think they're behaving honorably. Very, very dishonorably. That's probably a better way to put it. All right. That is it for this evening. I hopefully won't be late to my stream tomorrow. It's in the afternoon, I think, right? 2 because I've got meetings in the evening. I had meetings tonight too. Another reason I was late. Shit came up. I was listening in on the delegate chair training, and all kinds of issues got raised that I got caught up in, and forgot about the stream. Okay. All right, y'all. I will see you tomorrow. And I hope you're having an awesome day and making all your convention preparations. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.
Gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians, or choose to be an accountant because it's safe.